Welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode number 44 of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. This show was created as a safe space where cancer patients, survivors, and supporters come together to share their stories and connect, as well as find resources that provide healing, hope, and resilience. My name is Tim Sohn, a 15-year cancer survivor, host of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, and a live streaming producer and coach for nonprofits, businesses, and entrepreneurs who make a positive impact in the world. And now I'm going to turn it over to you, Erica Campbell.
Oh, no, this way.
Yes, it's the opposite way.
Gets me every time. Hi, everyone. I'm Erica Campbell. And my variety of perspectives on cancer is that I am a cancer survivor myself. Had breast cancer 4 years ago. I am a cancer volunteer. I am a cancer leader leading a nonprofit called the Pinky Swear Foundation. And I am also calling myself a cancer orphan after I lost my mother to breast cancer nearly 20 years ago. And Tim, I don't want to give it away, and I'll talk more about this, but behind me today, I have this one. This is a special one for our guests. This is Be Good to People. And this was actually a handwritten card from Bill and Terri Tomoff. And we'll get to talk to Terri in a little bit, but special shout out. This is the inspirational quote of the week. Be good to people.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Awesome. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. And this is our community. Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer is about just that, showing up. So let's show up for each other in the comments. We'd love to hear, where are you coming or dialing in from? I guess I keep saying dialing. I'm old. Where are you?
Kind of like AOL, right?
Exactly. Yes. Where are you streaming in from today on LinkedIn? And what is your connection to cancer? And also, I encourage you to give a shout out to someone else that you know or someone you don't know in this community and in the chat. So go for it. We love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Let's encourage each other and connect.
Yes, definitely. Let's do that. And before we bring our amazing guest on for today, I want to mention a few things. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who has posted comments or sent me messages of love and support and prayers, as me and my family have been ill over the past week. And also the in-person Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer event was supposed to be going on September 10th. That had to be rescheduled. So thank you so much to all of you who have showed up in the comments or in my direct messages. I just can't express enough my thanks for all of your support as things have gone a little chaotic around here. So thank you very much. Secondly, I want to say that we do have a new date for the in-person Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer event, which I'm super excited about. It will be on Saturday, November 5th. It's going to be the same time. It's going to be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can go right now. Well, don't go right now because we want you to stay for our guest. But after the show, go to perspectivesoncancer.com. You can sign up. The event is still free. It's still in partnership with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Pinky Swear Foundation, and all the amazing sponsors, including the Pinky Swear Foundation. So thank you to all of them for their continued support. Definitely. And I will put all that information in the comments. So Erica, who is our guest for today? I'm so excited. And I know you know our guest today.
Yes. I have known Terri Tomoff for over 20 years. She is a force of nature. She is a powerhouse woman, a fearless leader, and I call her like brave mama, mama bear, the whole thing. You guys are going to enjoy hearing from her. Her son, Ryan, is a 5-time cancer survivor. He is my own personal hero, as is Terri. So Terri's going to join us today to talk about that journey, some particular aspects of the journey, and this awesome book that she wrote called The Focused Fight. So this is Terri's novel. I highly encourage you. I'm sure at this point, at some point we'll share a link. She'll talk about it. But
Yes.
she is the author of this book, The Focused Fight, A Childhood Cancer Journey from Mayhem to Miracles. Terri, you are a miracle. Let's welcome Terri to the show.
Welcome to the show, Terri, and thank you so much for showing up today.
Thank you so much, Tim and Andrea. I just saw in the chat, Andrea.
And welcome to Andrea. I saw her in the chat too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much for being on the show, Terri. It's so great to have you on the show. We do want to go to the comments briefly to thank people who are tuning in. Andrea is here. Yes. It's so great to have you here, Andrea. I know you can't tune in often because of other job responsibilities, but she says, I am so thrilled to be able to join live for the first half today. Hello, friends. So thank you, Andrea, for being here.
Welcome.
Yes. And Andrea is going to be at the in-person Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer event. So excited to see you in person, Andrea. Shannon Epps is here. She donated to the event. So thank you, Shannon, for being here. She said, good afternoon, all. Mark Kageyama, previous guest and guest co-host on the show. Thank you for being here, Mark. Shannon is tuning in from Maryland, and she's a supporter. So thank you. Andrea is here from Houston, Texas, all the way from Houston, Texas. Dafina is here. She says, hey, Tim, so great to see you here. Dafina. Rich Gasson is here. It's so great to see you here, Rich. Brian O'Sullivan is here. He says he's a mantle cell lymphoma thriver, not just a survivor in New Jersey, working and listening. So great to have you here. Don Tomoff is here, joining from Cleveland, Ohio.
Hi, Don.
Rich is here from Middleton. Is that Wisconsin?
Yep.
Had cancer and dealing with family members going through treatments now. Thank you for sharing, Rich, and thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks
and
for
we have
the Midwest, Rich.
Yeah, there you go. Team Midwest. We have someone here from Greater Alaska.
Wow.
Thank you for being here, Jim Fuse. It's great to see you here. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Tim and Jim show also.
Fabulous.
And also Jennifer is here. She says, hi, everyone. It's great to see you, Jennifer. Thank you for being here. And Tom Tressler is here. Welcome, Tom. And Maria Rouse. And everyone who is here, thank you all for showing up. We appreciate you all for being here. As we go through the conversation, guys, let us know what questions you have for Terri, Erica, or I. We'd love to answer your questions. But Erica, why don't we start the conversation?
Yeah. So Terri, as I previewed, your son Ryan has been a 5-time cancer survivor. So why don't you tell us that journey, at a high level, and let's dive into your story.
Oh, well, thank you, Erica. That's how I'm going to remember everything. You get a little nervous being on. But anyways, let's start with yours. And our world changed on October 1996 when Ryan was diagnosed with leukemia with CNS involvement. And that kind of, that rocked our world. Everybody knows how those diagnoses are and come out and right? We persevered, and Ryan was 2 years and 2 months old when he was diagnosed. And then he finished up his 2-year protocol on December 30th of 1999. We had a great New Year's Eve, and we were on our way to better days, as we thought. And then 9 months later, and he started kindergarten, and 2 weeks later, he relapsed with his same leukemia. So the first protocol, he had to go through another one. Same leukemia, drugs, different components of chemotherapy at different times to see if that will eliminate the ravaging his body again.
Wow.
And so that protocol was 2 years and 2 months, and 12/31/2002. Again, we're like, woohoo, let's go, let's protect life again, and no more hospitalizations. But we still had stuff. But anyways, and he then went about another 18 months or so, and relapsed again on June 4th of 2004. Leukemia, believe it or not. And our best bet at that point was a bone marrow transplant. And so ended up going to the hospital down south, Duke University, and Ryan had his transplant on November 3rd, 2004. And it was a intense experience, I'm not going to lie. But we persevered, we got through it and everything. And 11 years went to high school, graduated, started college, has probably 40 credits to his name. And during finals week, believe it or not, of 2016, he was diagnosed with squamous carcinoma on his tongue, which is unusual with Ryan's history. Survivor, 2-time survivor, 3 times with bone marrow transplant, cranial spinal, and TBI, total body irradiation. And he had a 12-hour surgery to remove that tongue cancer that was deep inside, embedded into his tongue. Okay, and that was a really intense experience. Like I said, he knew how everything was going to work in the hospital and so forth. So that was good. And about 6 or 7 months later, mid-November, the poor kid had another scar that was detected on a PET scan. So it was very just started. So we were able to get that one without incident, most likely. And then they checked the
Hey
lymph
Terri.
nodes. Yeah.
You've gotten kind of fuzzy, and your audio is kind of coming in and out. Is anybody else on your internet or?
Did she freeze?
Well, I didn't. Bill, I think is on. That's the only one. Unless Ryan is in the back, I don't know. But
Okay.
Is that coming in better?
No. Erica's coming back now.
Okay. What happened?
Oh, no, Erica's back.
Okay.
Terri, maybe you could try going off and coming back to the link, and maybe just check to see. I don't know if anybody could go off the internet for a few minutes while you're on, because it's kind of hard to hear you and see you, and I want to make sure people can hear and see you.
Can I go back off and come up?
Yeah. Just come back to the link. It's okay.
Well, Terri,
hi, Erica.
Hi.
Yes.
Since I know Terri from
Yes.
years ago, I actually might tell some stories that she may not know. So the background is that the reason I met the Tomoffs and Ryan in particular was that I was at a summer camp for children with cancer where Ryan was one of the campers. And so I remember hearing this just incredible news, and everyone was devastated about his bone marrow transplant, and his counts were low, but he still wanted to come to camp. And I know we'll talk about that and what that meant to him. The funniest story though was he didn't really want to eat. And we're all camp counselors, and we have to make sure he's eating, right? And the only thing he wanted to eat was bacon.
Bacon.
And so bacon. Yeah. And so it was all hands on deck to get this kid bacon. And those cafeteria trays, that's what we had. He's the 7-year-old kid.
And we have Terri back.
Pound of bacon.
There's Terri.
On top of his tray.
Welcome back.
All right. Bill's going around trying to, oh boy.
We can see you, Terri.
Okay, good.
You look better now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Very good.
Terri, I was just telling the funny story that I don't know if you ever heard was how much when he was at camp and all Ryan wanted to eat was bacon.
Oh yeah. Yes. Kathy Russell. Yeah,
Kathy Russell. I remember this, like, literally, like, the cafeteria tray covered with like a mound of bacon. Like, no other kids were allowed to have bacon. We were like, this goes to Ryan. It was hilarious. It was amazing. Yeah. And so those are the camp memories.
All right. I know. I'll finish the timeline. So after the second squamous surgery, Ryan had some hot lymph nodes. So they wanted to take about 30 of them out. And he was all clear in January of 2017. 5 years later, this past February, there was a little precancerous in situ removed from his tongue. So that was his last one, but I wouldn't consider it a big cancer diagnosis or anything. So we're going to still say 5, maybe 5.5 times. 5. Okay.
Okay.
So that's his journey. Now, there was a lot of chaos in between all those dates, but you know what?
Sure.
We're surviving this. We keep going, we keep moving, and trying to help others as they go through their journeys too.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. And how is Ryan doing now?
Ryan is doing great today. He works part-time at a job he loves, Installnet International, as a project coordinator or administrator. And he works, believe it or not, it's a full circle moment. He works for one of the companies is Medline. So when they install, like this installation company, when they install different things for hospitals or exam rooms, Ryan knows all those items in those rooms that he's working for. So really a cool moment for him. Really enjoys that. He loves to golf, so he's out on the links anytime he can get. With his sister and her boyfriend, if they can do it. Olivia is a sister, and he loves to grill on his plethora of grills. His Traeger being his favorite, and he's got a flat top, and he is an amazing chef. He does great work. I really don't have to cook the evening dinner. I just have to worry about breakfast and lunch if I want it, right? Because Ryan really takes care and do that. But he loves sports. He's always been a sport lover, right? You guys all know that. Yankees fan, Capitals fan. The Washington Capitals have been great to him over the years through different channels we've been involved with the cancer organizations and some hospitals that they cater to. So that's been great. And actually, a few Capitals used to come to Washington Capitals. Hockey players would come to Georgetown and play video games with him for hours. Never any fanfare. They ever say, go get yourself something to drink or something to eat. They were totally cool with it. So that was really good. And his new interest is bourbon, believe it or not. He's not a drinker, not a big drinker, but there's a couple that he really likes, and he's been studying the whole process. And actually, we went down to Buffalo Trace this summer because he wanted to learn a little bit more how they manufacture and everything. So very interesting, kind of like wine, if you're a wine aficionado. And so that's where he is today. And thank you for asking.
Oh my gosh.
He's a great kid.
Terri, my full circle moment is I just told the viewers briefly about, Ryan at, age 7 with the pile of bacon. My full circle moment was finally when he, was aged, 19 at the time. I got to be on staff with him, and he became a camp counselor. And I will tell you, Terri, again, these are the camp secrets. He was the most powerful counselor because he understood what other kids were going through. And it was so mind-blowing to, go from seeing him as a 7-year-old camper to being on staff and being peer-to-peer with him. So that's just a beautiful full circle of all of the things. And now he's drinking bourbon. Oh my gosh, bacon and bourbon.
Sip. Yeah, a little sip here and there, not much. Over there on the rocks, I guess. That's what they call it, with those ice cubes. But I never heard that before. So thank you for sharing that with me and everyone that's watching about Ryan and how he's really developed into that counselor role and really helping out the kids. Yeah.
100%.
He's a good listener. I think that's the key.
Yeah. Really powerful listener. Great kid, or great adult, I guess. But one of the things you mentioned is that you have a wider family, right? Obviously, you have your husband, Bill, and you have your other daughter, Olivia.
Yes.
So, you and I have talked often about the effect on siblings.
Oh, sure.
So how did Olivia handle the diagnosis? And, remembering that this has been such, 20 years of her life as well. And so what do you think her views and your views are on the experience of siblings?
Well, Olivia was, remember, Ryan was 2. Olivia was 4 years old when he was diagnosed. So she doesn't really remember anything prior to the diagnosis. Everything is past because it was so intense. And so but I have to say, over the years, she has been the rock of our family. She steered the ship when stuff was going overboard and chaos was reigning in our world. Whether or not she was 5, 10, 15, 20 years old, Olivia was the gem of the family, just keeping us whole and sane. And a lot of that was because of her study. She studied, very well. And she was an athlete, a soccer player. And so we had one extreme, we're in the hospital. The other one, we're on the soccer fields. Wherever the ball took us is where we went. And so we were on this, this big range, but I think it kept us centered in a weird way.
Yeah.
And she is to thank for that, for parlaying her anxiety and her stress into sport, into her studies. So we're so proud of her. And today she's a businesswoman and working for a big corporation and loving it and learning. And like her dad, always be learning. That's what they like to do. And me too. But Bill really highlights that as we move through the process of, but she's doing great. She lives in Richmond, Virginia now, just bought a house and just loving life, doing her thing.
Yeah, I really do feel like I have a very special place in my heart for siblings because they are often overlooked, in some ways rightfully so in the midst of this kind of cancer journey. But you and Bill have done a great job of that. Could you share a story, Terri, that,
Sure.
You've seen lots of other siblings,
Yes,
other families and other supporters.
yes.
Tell us another story about siblings and why that's important to focus on them too.
Well, before I get into the one story, the teddy bear story, so in case I lose track, remember the teddy bear story, I wanted to talk about the camps that the kids went to. The local one that's in the Delmarva region is Special Love out in Winchester, Virginia, or Fort Royal, Virginia. But actually, there was a woman by the name of Melanie Goldish who started Super Sibs. And she understood because she had a cancer son and her other son was a sibling. In the late 90s, she started this foundation and it just really took off. And now it's under Alex Lemonade Stand, who also caters to siblings along with Special Love. They can have Brass Camp and then the Super Sibs under Alex Lemonade Stand. So those are great resources for people to check out because they do help with the siblings, not only the cancer kid, we know that, but the siblings as well, because they are just a main part of that family. But going to the teddy bear story, I have to share this because I think it's really important to hear this. A family I know had 3 young kids at the time, and the cancer girl and a sibling boy and a sibling girl. And this young lady ended up getting a teddy bear, and the siblings got teddy bears, and they were ecstatic that they all 3 got teddy bears. And they were just holding their teddy bears and looking at their teddy bears, but they didn't see the cancer kid's teddy bear yet. But when they did see the cancer kid's teddy bear, their face fell because their teddy bears were little and this cancer kid was big. So that was a moment of finding out how siblings really young kids handle how the cancer sibling is getting all the accolades and everything else. Yes, they are, because it's warranted if they're hospitalized and everything else, the doctors, hospital staff, yes. But if you're going to buy a teddy bear for a family of 3 or 4 or 5 kids or even 2, buy them all the same size. It doesn't even have to be a teddy bear, right? But it's never stuffed animals. Buy them the same size. You'll save that family a lot of headaches over the years, because they'll always remember that big teddy bear so-and-so got, right? Versus the little teddy bears that we got. They were appreciative, no doubt. But it was just that, even that size, and for a little kid, it was a big pivotal moment for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, I think, there's some kind of hashtag blooming here of like equality amongst teddy bears or something,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that was good. But they're all adults now, and they can get whatever size teddy bear they want, right? Not when they're little kids that you don't. So
right.
I think of the siblings. It's always was a really heartwarming for us when people thought of Olivia, And when I saw at the hospitals, major hospitals, when the families, or the community was supporting the sibling, that was very genuine and wonderful to see. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Special shout out to all the siblings.
Yes. Thank you.
Definitely,
Tim, over to you.
Definitely. Thank you, Erica. I just want to go to the comments for a minute and mention some of the comments that are here. Andreas says, so excited to catch you all live. Your initiative is so amazing. Well, thank you for being here, Andrea. We appreciate you being here. Zach says he is a Scotchman, but I will go via invite with anyone to watch a spirit being made. We have a conversation about bourbon going on. Bourbon is my favorite too, and Jennifer is a bacon aficionado. And Jim says the Capitals are his favorite hockey team. So let us know what your favorite hockey team is, because I mean, this is why I love this show. We talk about cancer and bourbon and sports all in the same show. I mean, where else can you do that?
No. Actually, little known fact, I live in Minnesota, and one of my neighbors is a Washington Capital. He just went back to DC to start the season. Great guy. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. So Terri, tell us about your story of other people in your tribe, and how do they support you and bring hope to others?
I'm going to say this point blank. It was the fellow families, the fellow parents that were in my tribe. Maybe I am today. We pushed each other. We helped each other. We cried together, laughed together. Actually, we probably laughed more than we cried, I will say, because there were some things that were so unbelievable. The only thing you could do is really laugh. So there you go about that. But we formed boards at the hospital. We joined boards at the hospital, or like I said, started our own, so we can help other families. There weren't anything in the kind at the time. And don't forget, this is pre cell phones, pre social media. We needed each other. Because and we were in physical locations, because we didn't have all the things that the Zoom like we're doing now. That was never available at that time. So we had to do what was best for us at the time, and that's what it was. And then also, I would say the power of our community. I live in Crofton, Maryland. We live in Crofton, Maryland, and the power of our Crofton community was just key in not only getting our family through some really tough moments, financially, spiritually, cutting the grass, all that. But it was other families that were battling other things here. It's not just our family. There was several at one time. Our community was just unbelievable in supporting all the families, and we can't thank them enough. Just like I can't thank you guys enough for what you're doing here, Tim and Erica, of what you guys are doing and how you're having people come onto the show and showing up for each other, showing up for others. I think you guys are doing an amazing job. Beautiful. So thank you.
I think there's just so much hope that you can find even amongst struggle when you're talking with some other families. Yeah.
Yes. We know, we know instinctively. We don't even have to talk to each other. We just have that look, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say it's a club, you never want to belong to, but you have that club and you have those fellow members.
Yeah, even the people I met 26, 27 years ago, still very close. We have a big core group.
Yeah.
And we go to weddings and, all the different things in between. And
yeah, that's incredible.
Enjoy company.
And Terri, you still remain friends with so many people. And in your book, we'll talk about it. You've got so many supporters and such a support network that you sort of engage with on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously I come with a huge bias of a summer camp experience. So I know Ryan, by the way, from the summer camp side, and I can tell you those stories too. But what were you seeing on the other side? What was the impact of the summer camp experiences for Ryan and also for Olivia, who I also know went to some sibling camps? And what made that work?
Well, we started off at 7 weekend back in the late 90s, and that started us off. And at that juncture, we met our tribes for Olivia and Ryan and Bill and I. We met our tribes at that point. not only the other parents that were there with their kids and their siblings, because that was a big factor of it, but it was this camp staff that kept us whole. And we had breakout rooms, and they would take the kids. I remember Kathy Russell just taking one of the kids and just, you know, enjoying their time and asking stuff about them, and just so we can focus and learn about this new world that we were going to have to face, and face it head on. True. So that was a really big one about that. And they have, for the siblings, the Special Love Camp is Brass. It's Camp Fantastic for the cancer kids and Brass for the siblings. And that was, she found her tribe there. Because you asked me about the impact. The impact was she was able to be herself, because she had a lot of friends, and don't forget soccer and school and other things that she was involved in. But they just didn't know her like those other kids did, how the camp kids know. She actually met her best friend Liz when they were 7. And she was her maid of honor at a wedding a couple years ago. Ooh. So the bonds for those kids are still really, really strong. Now, we don't know what happens at camp. The parents really don't. Now, Erica's given out some secrets about bacon, but we don't really know. But those kids know. And I think for Ryan too. And he takes it very seriously when he goes to camp, and he's a counselor now. He really wants to listen to those kids and give back. So he's impactful on them, because he was so impacted, or he was really blessed with some great counselors over the years, where we didn't even think he was going to camp, but he told his doctor, I'm going to camp, even before his bone marrow transplant. It was the only week he could have gone. And he was in the infirmary the whole time. His counselor had to sleep in the infirmary with him. He was supported with so many blood products and platelets and everything, and all the chemo and everything else he needed. Oh boy. But they took him, so good for him.
Yeah. I mean, Terri, like I said, I've seen him on the other side, and to see the transformation from not only Ryan, but other kids from day 1 of a summer camp sleepaway to day 7 is just transformative, right? When you give kids the power to be themselves in a supportive environment where they're not necessarily the only bald kid, or they're not necessarily the only kid with, you know, one leg, or things like that.
Right.
And so just the power of inclusion
is
so transformative.
Yeah. And I think that's what they still talk. He still has a posse that I think they talk quite a bit. And I think now they have Facebook threads and Facebook groups. And I mean, you can really keep in touch now. Whereas back then it was pen pals. You got your list of everybody that came to camp, and you had to write a handwritten note. Yeah. Which never underestimate the power of a handwritten note, by the way. So there you go.
That's your mic drop moment, Terri. Never underestimate the power of a handwritten note.
There's one hanging right behind you. Yeah, there you go. See?
Right
Start
here.
the show. Yep, there you go.
Handwritten note from Bill and Terri. I kept it all this time. There you go. So yeah, no, that's some of your signature hallmarks, Terri, is just your gratitude and your connectiveness and your community. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes. So everyone, we are here on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. Our guest is Terri Tomoff. We are here talking about her son Ryan's story and her perspectives. And so Terri, talk to us about, what did you do with your story and Ryan's journey?
Well, I will say that I'm going to incorporate cancer right now, especially childhood cancer, as we and us. So Bill and I took copious notes and filled notebooks and photojournaled Ryan's journey from the hospital room. I mean, I've got some pictures that are tough, to the parties and everything in between. That was we couldn't control everything else that going on around us, but we can control the pen and paper. We can control that camera, right? So we did, and that was a way for us to feel like we had some involvement in the case, and just keeping ourselves going every day and checking the notes from in the nursing station to our notes and everything back and forth to make sure everything was kosher, everything was good. And it was, for the most part. So I'm very happy with that. Out of all the doctors and residents and interns and everything that goes through those rooms and makes the notes, that we were really good about that. But I will say in 2000, when that digital camera came available to everyone, that was a game changer, because we could take as many photos as we want. We didn't care, right? It didn't matter. So there was no social media, no cell phone. So that was our way to help. And we used to write little newsletters to families and friends. We used to do about 100, 150, like everybody just, and we did like quarterly for a number of years until emails were more ubiquitous, more prolific. And then we were able to do newsletters that way. And Bill was instrumental in getting that out. So we worked as a team. The team effort was the best way to do it. We started off our marriage as a team. We continue to work as a team, as a family, our team family, Team Tomoff. And that has got us through the really tough moments too. And I can't, I'm grateful for that. So I think that's how we did it. And then, just from there, I think we always knew, I always knew, I think I want to try my hand at writing a book about his journey. So thank you for asking, Tim.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got the book here again called The Focused Fight.
Thank you.
Terri, just, give us that, what was the inspiration to writing this book, right? You guys, it's thick. I've actually tabbed a bunch of pages. It's amazing. What inspired you to write this?
Well, I always thought that Ryan's story was our family story was compelling enough to share at some point, right? And the story needed to be told. There's not that many kids that are 5-time cancer survivors who are, thriving and that's basically what he's doing. I mean, he's got a lot of ologist appointments, but he's still, doing things and having fun and enjoying every day of his life. That's for sure. So his book was always in the back of my mind, and I wanted to write the whole doggone thing out, and from mayhem to miracles, of course, right? Because there's all of that in there. But it was when Ryan was diagnosed with his first tongue cancer. Dr. Aziz Ashad, his primary doctor, his hematologist oncologist, said to me, "Now is the time." Because she knew I was she knew I took notes. She knew we were photojournaling. She knew all that. She was in a lot of that, all the photos, so she knew. But that's when she turned to me in the little exam room and said, "You must start your book now." And that was in 2016. So it was that summer. Once Ryan was healthy enough that I could leave for a little bit, I went to visit some friends up in Kelly's Island, Ohio, and I'm from Ohio, and I started writing my book there. I didn't do too much in the first couple of years. I kept telling people, I'm writing a book, and didn't do anything until the pandemic hit, and then I was able to sit at my dining room table, bolted my chair to the floor, didn't move, and I finished that. So thank you for asking about that, because that was just, it had to be out. I freed my soul of all the exquisite detail that I held so hard in my heart for so long. I freed myself. So if anybody can learn a nugget here is write it down. And you don't have to share it with anybody, but if you write it out, I think you can free yourself from the angst, the stress, the anxiety, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. Hashtag write it down, right?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. In what ways do you think that book was cathartic to you?
Oh, I was able to get out some of the stories I wanted to share with people. There are stories that didn't make the book, but that's on the other, another day for another day. But I think the really good characters that were in the book, some of the people that we've met along our journey who were really super helpful, I think they needed to be part of the journey because they were just so a part of our family's fabric. I mean, they were family. These nurses and these doctors and the art therapists and the social workers, they weren't just employees at a hospital. They became our family. Yeah. Even Shirley, who swept the floors and mopped the floors. And the people I would give out cookies, chocolate chip cookies, never underestimate the power of a chocolate chip cookie, to the guys that work the gates at the parking garage. Or I give them candy. Because I said, I know they work hard in winter, summer, they're all the time, same guys or gals. And at one time they thought I worked there. They were giving me the employee discount. So there you go. But I think if you show your gratitude to all the people that are coming into your world, because there's a lot, really. that really is helpful. Because you know what, when you give away, I mean, it affects you. It makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So giving something to somebody else, and that's, we can get into post-traumatic growth, but when you do that, your world becomes maybe just a little bit easier to handle. Yeah.
For sure. Terri, I think you're like the poster child here on this. Yeah.
Yeah. So many nuggets in there. But speaking of nuggets,
Yeah.
Terri, what are you doing for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and how is it impacting the world?
Well, you guys get an hour, but I decided, I did it last year, but I'm 1 minute short nugget videos, gold nuggets videos I'm doing each day of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And today is September 13th, so I already did my day 13. And for you guys, you're on day 13 too for doing this. Yeah, we're doing the LinkedIn Live. And you guys, of course, are doing amazing work. But, you know, I'm not looking to change the world, but I'm looking to change that one person or one family with our message, inspiration, and hope, because it's out there. And if you show gratitude, oh, the sky's the limit, right? So I am doing the 1 or 2 minute videos and trying to impact that one person, one family. And it's mostly centered around cancer, not necessarily childhood cancer. And maybe by reaching that one person or one family at a time in need, maybe we can impact the world.
Totally. Terri, do you still have that Post-it note?
Which one? The one about
it says one family, one.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm going to show everybody.
Yeah, show everybody.
This has been what I worked for the whole time I wrote my book, is one person, one family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the focus. It's one person, one family at a time, because that's all you can do. We can't, you know, I'm not Oprah Winfrey or Brene Brown that can affect, but I can affect one person, one family. I know I can. I'm doing it. I know I'm doing it.
Yeah. And I know you have. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
And all the people who are reading your book, the people listening today, the golden nuggets that you're doing for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, you know, one person, one family. And I love that. I've seen that Post-it note from you, and it's really moving.
I don't move it. It stays in that. And you know, it hasn't come off because I've taken it off to show, you know, the cameras, but it stays on. That's good.
It's the power of the message there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Terri, what was the silver lining in all of this journey, this very long, twisting, winding road of a journey?
Boy, yeah. You understand, you know. But I believe that the silver lining for me and for my family was that we got to take a look at life through a different lens. Mm-hmm. Or different lenses, actually, you know, not just one lens, right? Savoring small moments. Because spreading the message of manufacturing sunshine to those dark days that we all have in our life. It doesn't have to be cancer. It could be something else. There's traumatic events happening all over the world every day, every minute, right? And one example would be just a simple family dinner. Just cooking and just sitting down and having a dinner would be one simple moment, right? Or I can say, watching Bill, he's a big coffee drinker. So all those coffee drinkers, I'm a tea drinker, but the big coffee drinkers, I mean, he loves his coffee.
Me
and
too.
He gets in the car and he takes his trip down to the local coffee shop and he comes back and he sips that coffee and he's so thrilled. And then he warms it up all day long. He savors those moments when he's sipping that cup of joe. So I really love seeing that. So that's seeing life through a different lens, the simple moments in life, right? And then I would say the post-traumatic gains and growth and gains. That's another one. We have appreciation and a burning desire to pay it forward, just like you guys are paying it forward every week that you're on the show and you bring your guests on that are sharing their stories. I want to have that same effect. I want to impact if I can. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to say my quote here because I know Erica has in chapter 1, she has a quote in the Focus Fight, but I want to read this one. This is my silver lining summed up. Sometimes life's greatest gifts are in the smallest things that make the biggest impact.
Ooh.
Isn't it in the small things that make it a bigger life for all of us?
Totally. Yeah, that's a mic drop moment there. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So Terri,
Yeah.
You have been on this journey, since, again, Ryan was 2 and Olivia was 4, and now they're 28 and 30.
Yeah.
If you were to look back, what advice would you give yourself 20 plus years ago, that new mom, knowing what you know now? I just think it's an interesting reflection point. What would you say to her? What would you do for her?
I think the first thing I would think of is you have to take I hate to even say, you have to take the diagnosis head on. You got to face it. You can't put your head in the sand. Your kids are looking towards you for answers. If mommy's crying, there's something wrong. If, and the other thing is, and we did this, but I would still say today the same thing, is to tell exactly what is happening with the cancer kid and with the siblings in age-appropriate language. Because I think it helped. I think Olivia felt much more comfortable when she was younger because she knew the story with her brother. So I would really recommend that. I would tell my younger self that. Just be honest with that, because I think so resentment is not built up, or you lied to me. I didn't want any of that. And take all your pills, follow the doctor's orders. As a matter of fact, I was going to go back with Dr. Shaw tell me to write the book. You must write that book emphatically. I have to follow doctor's orders. I had to write that book. See, she ordered me to do so.
Yeah, your hands were tied at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we have to do that on my younger self. But also, I would also tell my younger self, have fun, laugh. You have to laugh too. You have to watch a funny show, and or whatever it is that to make you laugh, because the laughter it's good for our gut. So that's a good thing. So be around funny people. Tell people to send you a joke. Now it's pretty easy because you can find things online a lot easier. But back in the day, we couldn't. So there was a couple family members that we knew there, and the fathers were like super funny, and I was like, oh man, I love being around this guy because he makes me laugh so much, So I think that's a key point too, is and keep it light, and maybe help another family that's going through something, even at the hospital. I mean, you see people from all economic statuses there, and I even have something in the book about Olivia. And I think she was 10 or 11 and said, I don't want any gifts for Christmas, Mom. I said, huh? She says, I want it, whatever you get me, I'm going to donate it to this little girl that she befriended at the hospital. Wow. And we came in. Yeah, that was before the Santa's rides and all that used to come into the hospital. And I think they still do. And so that's what we did. And it was a very powerful moment for all of us. Now, of course, we gave her a couple things on Christmas Day, right? But she was very emphatic because she knew, she saw these kids. She saw that. And I just that just warms my heart. So teach the kids empathy and gratitude. And it goes a long way. And please and thank you, I will say. That is the other one. Please and thank you every step of the way. That poor Ryan, he was in the PICU, and a nurse or a doctor would come in, and the kid was, come on, the PICU. Do I have to say anything else? And I'd say, you have to say thank you to the nurse. I'd whisper in his ear, and he would. Might be a little small thank you, but it was very powerful for those nurses. And they took care of him like they should take care of him, right? And all the kids. So that would be another one. Just keep on that please and thank you.
Wow.
You can't go
These
wrong.
are life lessons for all parents. I'm going to go home and tell that to my kids. Oh, wow. Terri, you are a brave, fierce warrior, Mama.
It's been a journey, Erica.
Yeah,
and Jim, sure. As you guys know.
Yeah. So we asked this question now. Tim, did you want to ask a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, so this is hard to do, Terri, but how would you describe your perspective on cancer in one word? Transformational is my one word.
It encompasses the whole journey from
Yeah.
a greenhorn who didn't know anything about leukemia to writing a book about it and everything in between. It transformed my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Wow,
I will say, I was diagnosed a week before I finished the book, before I hit publish. I was diagnosed my own cancer, uterine cancer. Thankfully, though, I had surgery to remove the offending cancer and so forth. And just this past Monday, I can share with everyone that I got a clean bill of health, no cancer. Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
You go, Terri.
Yes, the good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to celebrate that.
You get to celebrate your socks off, girlfriend.
That's correct. So,
wow.
Yeah, what a journey. And
what a journey.
You guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim, so we're going to ask you that question. What's your one word on your perspective on cancer? Is it changed this week or is it the same?
I'm going to go with impactful this week.
Oh,
I usually would go with community because of this community, and I was really looking forward to being with people in person, but that's going to happen November 5th. So I'm really excited about that. But impactful because like all sorts of impacts, right? Positive impacts, negative impacts, the whole range of them, but just all sorts of emotions, feelings, situations, impactful. That's my word for this week. What about you, Erica?
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to hear from our viewers. What's your one word this week too? Mine is, I think I'm going to always change it, but after our talk today, Terri, my word is multifaceted, which I just, I know, I feel like I kind of squeezed in 2 words there, but just, seeing so many different perspectives. Terri, you talked about the sibling, you talked about listening to physicians, you talked about your marriage, you talked about, your own health. I mean, it's so multifaceted. And so that's my word of this week. Again, please put your word in the comments this week. Would love to hear from you. Terri, you are an incredible, incredible human. You spark a movement, one person, one family, and we're so grateful for you.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You are as well. Thank you, Terri. We're going to take you off the screen. If you want to hang out a few minutes, we can chat afterwards.
Okay. Thank you so much, you guys. Erica and Tim, this was a transformational being on your talk today. So thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Likewise to us as well.
Awesome.
All right, Erica.
Oh man, Terri's been one of my heroes for so long. And so that was my full circle moment. I get to interview my hero. So thank you, everyone.
That is so cool. So cool. I always look forward to our conversations every week, Erica.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, because you never know what you're going to learn from our guests or from our viewers.
Yeah.
Everyone who shows up every week in the comments as well.
Love you guys. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your perspective.
Definitely. And we are always looking for guests who want to be on the show. So if you have a connection to cancer, whether you're a survivor, a family member, an author, maybe you have a nonprofit organization or you work for one, maybe you're a medical professional, any connection to cancer, please send me a direct message and let's chat. Also, a reminder that the rescheduled in-person Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer event is coming up on November 5th here in Pennsylvania. You can go to perspectivesoncancer.com to sign up and for more information. I'm very excited about that as well. Erica, who is our guest next week on Showing Up?
I am excited. We are going to hear from Howard Brown. He is a 2-time cancer survivor, and he has a book out called Shining Brightly. So I'm excited. I'll have to read that one. Let's all show up next week and support Howard and each other. The community is what it's all about, and we just get to do that by showing up.
Exactly. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. And also, I just want to let you guys know that the brother of Nightbird is rescheduled his date for the show. It's going to be on October 25th. So make sure to tune in then as well. But for now, let's dance. Here we go.